All right. Good morning, everyone. I think I'm going to have our director check, but we may still be on max 3. Well, actually, no, never mind. Good morning, everyone. Let me update my screen and let me turn down our stereo stream so that we're not broadcasting in stereo here. I'm just trying to verify if we've got our right graphics, and we do. So thank you, Zachary. I appreciate it. We are good to go now for the live stream. Thank you for your patience and for sticking around while we figure out our technical connections here and get everything all wired into where it needs to be. And here we go. This morning, a high impact winter storm absolutely in progress. Now, if you haven't been with us for much of the last couple of days and you're waking up this morning and you're looking outside and you're saying, where's my 15 inches of snow? Well, let me fill you in on how this winter storm is going to work, because this is not one of those cases where you're waking up this morning to 15 inches of snow. This is going to be a long duration snow event. And what that means is it's going to be snowing for really the entire day today. And this will come in varying intensities and varying waves of heavy and light and moderate snow as we go throughout the day. So when you wake up tomorrow morning, that's where you're going to be seeing that 15 or more inches worth of snow, 10 to 15 for most on the ground. This morning, the reports that I'm seeing coming in so far range anywhere from an inch all the way up to 5 inches. And the highest one I've seen so far is 5 inches in Bettendorf. 4 inches, 4.5 inches here in the Quad Cities at the Quad Cities International Airport. So welcome. If you're watching us on the 8 Plus app, we're happy to have you along. We're going to update you every hour here. So we're in the 7 o'clock hour. We'll do another one at 8, 9, 10, 11, and of course another one at noon and more planned this afternoon. So in terms of continuing coverage, this is the place to be. We're also simulcasting on our Facebook page as well. You can tune into that stream. I've got it here on my phone. I'm going to keep an eye on the comments section here. We're going to do these updates and go for about 15, 20 minutes. Then we'll take a break, and then we'll refresh our data, come back with you at the top of each hour and show you what's going on, and we'll update the snowfall totals as well. So welcome. Hopefully everybody's having a good morning so far. If you're a snowplow driver, you're having a busy morning, or if you have a snow removal business, you're having a busy morning. This is a live look at downtown Rock Falls. Slushy mess on Illinois Route 40 here, also known as First Avenue. Roads across the rest of the area are just absolutely messy all over the place. In fact, we've got Joe Habersham out in the Beast, and I believe we're going to try and check in with him here at some point during this update. But I want to give our directors in the booth there a little bit of a break to catch up on some of their other tasks that they need to do. So in the meantime, I'm going to take you through what we're expecting for the rest of the day. Weather impact alert is in place right now all the way through tonight, because we are going to continue to see these bands moving over and over and over again our region with heavy snow. So we've already got the slick roads. We've had times of low visibility this morning, so travel is not recommended. You want to avoid it if at all possible. Obviously, if you need to get to work, you need to make a living, you need to travel, or if you need to go for a medical emergency, those would be about the only 2 to 3 reasons why you should be on the roads today. Not a good day to shop. I know it's Small Business Saturday. Again, when the storm clears tomorrow and next week, let's show our small businesses here in the Quad Cities some love. I definitely plan to do that myself. There's a look at the bridges here. I-74 bridge, completely covered. Same thing with Interstate 80. 280 is completely covered. The Centennial is completely covered. You've got both bridges also in Clinton, whether it's Illinois 136 or US 30, also completely covered with snow. If you look at all the rest of the interstate views here, this is I-74. Completely covered in snow, traffic and moving very slowly. Interstate 80 also completely covered in snow from here to Iowa City. Now, when I was taking 80 in this morning, my usual commute time on a good weather day is about 25 minutes. For me this morning, it was closer to 40, 45 minutes. My average speed on Interstate 80 from Geneseo to Moline was about 35, 40 miles an hour. And there was not one stretch of clear pavement. Both lanes were completely covered with snow. So that gives you an idea of what things are going to look like. Whiteside County Airport, this is a good view to show us the wind situation, because we've had this light, fluffy, powdery snow so far this morning that is drifting and blowing in spots. This snow will transition to a wet, heavier snow into the afternoon as temperatures get close to freezing. And that will change the snow type for a few hours. But then later tonight, we're going to see the snow type transition back to fluffy and powdery, and that will start blowing and drifting. So there's no surprise here. These are road conditions. You can see every single road right now 100% covered in snow. No exceptions. Even into Chicago, the tollway, partially covered. And those folks have a lot of resources compared to what we do here because, of course, you're paying for it with the tolls there. But yeah, everything is covered right now. You're not going to escape that. Here's another view of the I-74 bridge. Now, when Joe was on there earlier with Alex, one of our photographers, their speed in the Beast was about 30 miles an hour. And that seems to be appropriate given the pavement condition you've got going on. Bridges and overpasses will be the worst today in terms of the slickness of that pavement because, reminder, we have nothing under these to insulate it. So that pavement is very cold, and with temperatures below freezing, it'll remain that way. Now, we're in the 20s right now. We will eventually get close to, as I said earlier, freezing as we go into this afternoon. That will transition the snow from a lighter, powdery snow to a wet, heavier snow. On the radar this morning, very heavy band of snow now working into Muscatine, just getting out of Galesburg and moving into the Metro Quad cities. We're catching a little break in the snow here, Burlington, Mount Pleasant into southeast Iowa. But I'm going to widen out this picture to show you that this storm system is far from over. So our area of low pressure is still in Kansas. Big band of heavy snow on the north side of that system, south of Omaha. And then you've got heavy rain to the south of that near Kansas City. Now here's our little break this morning. But notice the radar is filling back in western Iowa and northwest Missouri. All of this rain that's in Kansas City has yet to move in our direction. Once it does, it will hit the cold air, convert over to snow, and we're going to see snowfall rates pick up again substantially this afternoon into all of this evening and into the early overnight hours. So again, this is far from over. If you are waking up this morning with only a half inch or an inch on the ground, we've got a lot more snow to go. While we may see a break here in the next couple of hours, look at all that moisture coming in our direction. So don't let that fool you. We're still expecting some really heavy rain, or snowfall totals, excuse me. So here's what we're tracking now. Of course, that is the heavy snow. You want to avoid travel. Late tonight, we are expecting that to taper off to light snow showers and then flurries after midnight. What's new, though, is some bitterly cold air is going to follow this. Now, it's not going to be an immediate noticeable impact here, but certainly as we get later into the week, you're going to notice some really chilly temperatures. Future track, as we go through the rest of the morning, just socked in snow. Now, yes, once we get close to noon, you're going to see some lighter blues come in here. That's indicating that break I just showed you on radar. But notice how this fills back in with dark blue heading into the late afternoon and also the evening. That's that push of moisture from Kansas City coming in here. And then what we'll see is that area in Nebraska that was wrapping around the low in western Iowa, that comes in here tonight. So that's what you're seeing here on the presentation of the future track model at about 9, 10 o'clock. It's that band wrapping around the low that comes in. And even within this band, you can get some really, really heavy snowfall totals of about an inch per hour that could move through. So keep that in mind. You know, we're not done with this by any stretch of the imagination. We will be done, though, 3, 4 o'clock tomorrow morning. However, reminder, when we're dealing with snowfall totals of 10 or more inches, it's going to take a while for road crews to catch up, and the residential streets are always the last that they're going to focus on. So it's going to take a while for your particular neighborhood to get cleared out here. The main streets, of course, and the interstates are the #1 priority, but it is going to take some time for those crews to get to the residential streets. There's the snowfall expectation by 8 o'clock tonight. I'm going to take this all the way into tomorrow morning when the snow comes to an end. Yes, a lot of us are still on track to see that total snowfall anywhere between 10 to 15 inches. And normally when we track a storm like this, that heavy snowfall band is concentrated in a really narrow corridor. If you've been following weather for us for a number of years, that sounds familiar. Well, this one is so impressive. You are seeing a wide corridor of where we're going to have those 10-plus inch amounts. It's not just going to be a little sliver near Interstate 80. No, this is going to be widespread heavy snowfall before it all comes to an end. So keep all of that in mind. Again, avoid travel today if you can. I think tomorrow morning is also going to be messy for a lot of the roads, but by tomorrow afternoon, we will start to see those road conditions improve substantially. A reminder of the timing of all of this. Again, the 2 heavier bands. We have the one this morning. We get that little bit of a lighter snow around noon. Then we'll transition back to heavy, wet snow, and the intensity will pick up as we go into the afternoon and into the evening, followed by lighter snow very late tonight, and then it all wraps up as we go into Sunday. If you must drive today, and this is from personal experience, I was a commuter student for all of my college career. I was also commuting here to Channel 8 from Sterling for at least my first year. I also commuted for my first job in Rockford. I have been through ice storms, I've been through blizzards, I've been through heavy snowfall events, I've done it all. And these are the things you want to do if you absolutely must travel today. You are increasing following distance. That shouldn't be hard to do because there's hardly anybody on the roads today. That's been my experience looking at the cameras so far. Drive in a plowed lane. You may be tempted to pass the plow. You may be tempted to pass somebody that's going extremely slow because maybe they don't have as much experience. Don't go in that left-hand lane unless you absolutely have to, because in the majority of cases, that's what gets people in trouble. I have seen so many people, and I'm in a line of cars, and I'm in the right-hand lane. Somebody gets impatient. They say, you know what, I'm going to sneak over into that left-hand lane just to test it out and see what happens. And coincidentally, they're in a rear-wheel drive car, so you know where I'm going with this. They spin out, they fishtail out, they nearly hit all of us sitting in line, and then they go into the ditch. It's just not a good idea. You got to pack patience. You shouldn't be in a hurry to go anywhere today anyway. Do not use your cruise control. You want to be able to feel instant feedback from your car as you're driving. When you have cruise control on, you do not have feedback from your car. Your car is taking over the accelerating for you. So don't use the cruise control. If you need to steer, no sudden movements. You know, obviously we're steering, of course, when we're driving, but don't do sudden steering movements like a quick turn to the left, a quick turn to the right. You're accelerating and you're braking smoothly. All of those things, and if you take it slow, you'll make it to where you need to go today. But again, if you don't need to be out, stay at home. We're going to continue to do coverage all morning long into the afternoon and the evening right here on the A+ app, including updates from the Beast so you can see what's going on with the road conditions and everything else in between. If you have somebody that you know that has a smart TV, maybe a friend, a family member, tell them about the A+ app. This is where, you know, there's really no limits on how much we can stream, how much we can update. We don't have to worry about network timing. We don't have to worry about commercials and all that fun stuff. So this is nice that we can do this long-form coverage right here on the A+ app. So here's what we've got going on for the next week here. Yeah, we're going to have a couple more snow showers on Monday. And then when we go to Wednesday, another little couple snow showers. And thanks for the info there, Zach. We're going to see if we can maybe pop up Joe and the Beast here and see what's going on. There's 5 for an overnight low on Thursday. I know it's going to be cold. Wind chills below 0 there probably too. But we do bounce back up in the temperatures as we go into Friday and also Saturday too. So it's going to get chilly for a while. That is for sure. But I want to check and see, do we have access to Joe? Is Joe on standby, and is he ready to go to show us what's going on with the road conditions?
He isn't quite on standby yet.
Okay.
Still driving around out there, though, so we're going to definitely check in with him fairly soon. Maybe in the next, I think the 8 o'clock hour might be the best for us.
Okay,
yes,
perfect.
yes. And I do want to check in real fast. There is, if you're traveling on I-80, their right shoulder is blocked 8 miles west of the Williamsburg area. I know some people in our area might be traveling that way later today. So just stay careful on the road there. It looks real snowy, lots of flashing lights. Not very cleared off, just as you said, Andrew. That was some great advice for sure. And keeping good and making sure you're in the right driving on the roads today.
Exactly. It's all about, you know, common sense. And some people say, you know, common sense ain't so common these days. You just really have to use your best judgment if you're going to travel in this. You don't want to get in a situation where you get overconfident, you're speeding, you lose control, or you get stuck somewhere, and it's going to take a while for emergency services to reach you. That's why we talk about the winter weather survival kit, making sure you have that in your vehicle in case you are stranded. A full tank of gas. That's the first thing I did when I left work yesterday. I only had half a tank, you know what, and I normally wouldn't fill up at that point. But I said, you know what, we got a winter storm coming. I'm not going to be stranded somewhere and then have to have anxiety about how much gasoline I have left in my car. So full tank of gas, absolutely necessary if you're going to be traveling in this kind of situation. It's just one less thing you got to worry about, honestly. I mean, the fewer worries, the easier time you're going to have if you have to travel in this, right? And this isn't our first rodeo. If you've grown up here in the Quad Cities, we've been through this before. Now, it's been a while since we've had a snowfall event this heavy, but my goodness, this is a good reminder that we do get winter here in the Quad Cities, and it does snow quite heavily. So a lot we're going to keep tracking here. Again, we're going to go for maybe a few more minutes. I think maybe we'll wrap up at the 7:30, a nice even number.
I think that Joe is ready for us
Oh,
now.
he
We got a good
is.
connection
Okay.
with him, so we'll just tune in 1 second here.
Sweet.
I'm gonna try to pull him up. He's out driving around with Alex. They've been real troopers this morning, getting up early. It's not Alex's typical schedule, so. But yeah, we're gonna show you some of the roads here in just 1 second. Well, there we go. There's
There he
Joe.
is.
Hey, Joe, we can see you really well. It's nice and bright out there now. How are you? Are there more people out on the roads now that we're getting closer to 7:30, or is it still pretty not as many people out?
Well, you know what? The first thing I was going to mention, guys, good morning. Like I said, we are with Alex. We appreciate him for coming in. Not his traditional work schedule, not my traditional work schedule, but we want to make sure that we're showing people what they need to see. So we're actually going to turn the camera around right now, and I'm happy the sun is coming up so we can give you a better look at some of these sorts of things. Bam, right there. Okay, so I know Andrew was mentioning it at the in our 6 o'clock newscast, but these roads, I mean, me and Alex were talking about it. We're on Route 6 right now. We're heading into the Geneseo area, and just look at these streets. I mean, none of this is really plowed right now, not like we had saw in the Davenport area or even when we were in Moline. So we know that eventually there will need to be something that's done about these roads because we can't even see where we are right now. I mean, really, honestly, you know, we could be on the other side of the lane and we don't really know which way is which. The important thing that we want to keep in mind, I know Andrew mentioned, don't get in the left lane to pass anybody or to get on the highway to speed up, but when you have these rural roads like this, you really don't want to pass anybody either because it's hard to tell what's going to be on the other side. We have a no passing sign up there right now. Visibility. So out here, it is a little bit more foggy. I don't know if that's coming through on the camera as well, but we're having a tough time seeing just some of the stuff that's up ahead of us. There was one point where I was asking Alex, I was like, is that a person that's up there? It was a mailbox. It was a mailbox up the hill, but it looked like a person. So you really do want to take your time. You really do want to take your time, and you want to slow down, be careful. I think this stretch of Route 6 that we're on is 55 miles per hour, the speed limit, and we're going, what, Alex? What are we going right now? 28? Oh, half of that.
Wow.
Just about half of that right now. So we're not even going that fast. And like I said, we are the only people we've seen out here so far. There's been a few plows further back where we were closer to the Quad Cities, but not really many cars out here. So I know this morning we've kind of had, let me take the camera back from me for a second. There we are. Okay. So I know this morning we kind of, you know, people maybe getting up and not necessarily out. Tech seemed like it didn't want to get up with us this morning. But you do want to make sure that, like I said, safety is the number one thing, slowing down, and be careful on those turns. Because there was one part of the morning, we were coming to get the Beast. We were leaving near the South Park Mall area, and we hit a drift ourselves. And I looked at Alex and I was like, was that intentional? He was like, no. So I was like, okay. So you do want to make sure that when you are hitting those turns, that you are taking your times and going slower than you normally would, guys.
Well, I'm glad you guys are both okay. Hopefully less drifting now. What's been the best roads that you've seen so far today?
Well, I'll say I think that it was probably, there was a stretch of I-74. I think we were going west at that time. We were in Moline getting over into the Davenport side. So I think that was probably the best stretch, and that really, there were some crews that we had saw in the morning. I live in Davenport, so I saw people outside plowing as early as 3 o'clock, and that's city resources. At that point, you have the crews who are coming in, but when, like I said, I'll take the camera right here. When you have roads like this, you know, like I said, it's almost impossible to see where you're going. We're really taking this turn very slowly, and I'm not criticizing his driving by any means. That's just me telling you that we're being very careful as we're coming out this morning. But that was the stretch. We did actually see one car when we were on I-74 West. We saw one car pulled over as we were trying to make our way back around. We didn't see anything. It looked like that had cleared up pretty quickly, so that was the good part. So we only seen one car really pulled over this morning so far. I think up next, let me change the camera back again. Hey man, we're really getting the hang of this thing right here. I'm excited. We got the
You're
rest of the
learning,
morning
Joe.
here.
Great
Doing a good
job.
job.
First
Yeah.
time.
We're learning in real time. We're learning in real time. But I know that next up, I think we're heading over to Henry County to see some of the roads out there. Like I said, to be able to go through some more neighborhood roads, interstates, and routes that people can start to expect to see when they're getting up and getting out this morning.
Exactly. Well, thank you, Joe. Yeah, I know I saw some plows out, before 3 this morning when I came in too. So thank you to everyone that's out there plowing the roads as well and really trying to keep us all safe. You guys stay safe out there. No more drifting. Keep it slow, and we'll check back in with you in the next hour on our streaming platform. So thanks, Joe.
Thank you, Joe.
Sounds great, guys.
Yeah, Andrew, and we'll again be back, like we said, later, and we'll be back at every hour. Keep streaming, keep telling you all the good stuff that we've got here, keeping everybody safe.
That's right. And a good reminder, too, if you have a snowfall measurement, because there's nothing automated about snowfall measurements, there's no contraption, no machine, no satellite. Get out there with your ruler or your tape measure, dunk it on in the snow, take a few measurements, give me the average. We'll take those all morning long, so we really want to know what's going on in your hometown. But yeah, we'll come back at the top of the 8 o'clock hour. We'll do it again.
We will. Thanks, Andrew, and thanks for tuning in, guys. Well, good morning, Quad Cities. We're here. We're tracking a weather event with it's impacting parts of the Quad Cities, all the Quad Cities, and then the surrounding area with lots of snow on the ground. Andrew, what are these counts at right now?
Yeah, some of the totals I'm seeing right now, we've got 5 inches in Montpelier, Illinois. That is just south of the Quad Cities. We've got about 5 inches here in the Metro Quad Cities. I've seen 4, 4.5 in Muscatine, as much as 3.5, kind of down toward the Burlington area. So it is piling up, and we're going to continue to see more snow as the day goes on. Hence our continuing coverage here on the 8+ app.
Exactly. And we're going to go live with Joe Habersham. He's out in the Beast right now with our photographer, Alex. And Joe, I know you're in Henry County, and it's not looking too pretty out there, is it?
No, I feel like in our last hit, we were telling you guys where the best roads were, kind of near Galesburg. At least that's what we thought when we started looking at the roads. But I'm going to flip the camera around now. This is probably the worst that we've seen the roads this morning. I'm just going to mess around with the cameras just a little bit. Now, we can't see anything. And that was the main thing a second ago. I mean, look to the left. You have snow. I know that it's been coming down overnight. You can't see where it really, or you can't see the top of whatever it's covering. And then to the right, you know, it's all the same thing out here. And Alex, you know, we're making each other laugh this morning. Oh, we have a hill. And just to show you, this is what we're seeing even as we're driving right now. Not much else, mainly white out here. But I know that Alex was telling me a second ago, he's like, you can't even really tell where the shoulder is at some of these places right now, and that's obviously a safety hazard. You know, you're going to have some cars that are going to be out on the roads that are going to need to take a second or two to pull over, and they're not going to really know where to go or how deep they can go. Alex, I can't even see where this hill starts and ends right here.
Joe, do you think that
he has GPS on him, so we're able to track and... Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, is how much wind is there? Is the snow blowing around too? I know it looks a little hard to see right now, but it might just be the camera and how much snow is coming down.
You know what? We're looking right now. It is a little dusty, so you have some winds that are blowing it, and that's obviously not helping you either because it's sort of covering up some of the street lanes and stuff like that. It's making it a little bit hard to see. It is a little bit of dusty. A few minutes ago, I remember asking Alex, is it even snowing right now with the snowfall? Because there was one point where we really weren't seeing anything on our windshields. I know that they're warmed up, so that also played a factor in it. But it did feel like we were being able to see things a little bit more clearly. Now, I'm going to flip the camera back around just for 1 second. Now, visibility, like I said, has been a little bit easier to see out here. We're making our way through different parts of the Quad Cities and the extended area. So, I mean, these roads, they are manageable. You know, you can if you're willing to take the chance, but the main thing that we're trying to tell people is that you may not want to take that chance. Oh, I think we're getting ready to turn, so I'm going to grab on a little tight, turn the camera. There we go. All right, so not much else that we're seeing outside of that snowfall. But we're, like I said, we're going to make sure that we continue to have a look for you guys so you can kind of follow us throughout the morning and see where we're heading and sort of things that we're tracking this morning.
Yes, well, thank you, Joe. Thanks, Alex. You guys are doing a great job out there, and we'll continue keeping up with those roads. And again, Henry County is not looking the best, so try to stay off the roads, especially if you're there. But Andrew, I know that you've got so much more to keep us updated on. What else can we stay updated on for the rest of the day?
Yeah, I love the shot that we had there from Joe and some of the more rural roads in Henry County because, of course, those are the ones that blow around easily. You get the drifting that's going on. And the snow type that we've had so far this morning has been the lighter, powdery snow. It's been fairly easy to remove with a shovel, but it's also going to be impactful with some of the stronger winds that we're starting to see come in. So we're going to have Joe go to a different couple of places. We've covered so far Interstate 74. We've also shown you parts of Route 6 heading into Henry County. Coming up yet, we're still going to show you parts of Interstate 80. We will also take you into some of the residential streets because that's going to be everyone's question sitting at home. What do the residential streets look like? Because we know the snow removal folks, their number one priority is going to be the arterials and also the main roads, your interstates, the roads where you need to get medical emergency people through. So it's going to take a while for the residential streets. You're really going to have to pack some patience there. But again, we'll show you that look as we go throughout the morning, sending Joe to all these different spots. Let's see what's going on right now here in the Quad Cities. We're going to go out live to our Bridgepoint camera. The bridge deck itself is completely covered in snow. That is not surprising because the colder temperatures have moved in. That bridge deck has no insulation under it, so it is the first thing to cool down, and that is why it looks the way it does and why cars are going so slowly. Just also keeping an eye, too, to see if we have any big traffic accidents or occurrences going on across the region. Iowa DOT has a really, really nice traffic map that we can take a look at. And so far, other than a little incident near Walcott this morning and near Durant, we haven't had anything. And you know what that tells me? That tells me that folks are either staying home, or if you're on the road, you're heeding our advice and you are slowing way, way down and you are being extra cautious. So here's what we've got going on right now and for the rest of the day. Weather impact alert, absolutely necessary. It's one of those days where you're going to be dealing with some impacts. Heavy snow, slick roads, low visibility, you name it, we've got it on the board for today. So we're just avoiding travel unless you need to work or unless it's a medical emergency. It shouldn't be for shopping today. A lot of places closed. I actually just saw, too, the Prophetstown Lighted Christmas Parade is canceled for this evening, and rightfully so. I was going to be one of the judges for that, but looks like it will have to take place next year, so we'll look forward to that. Here's a look at the bridges across the region where, yeah, we're still covered in snow here. We're going to catch a little bit of a break here, though, and it is a tiny break. It's about a 2 to 3 hour window where the snow will lighten up. It'll become a little bit finer. That will allow road crews to catch up a little bit. So if you do need to go somewhere, I would say you probably have the next 2 hours or so, this small window where you can see we're getting a little bit of clearing on the pavement here that you can take advantage of to go where you need to go. But by this afternoon, the heavy snow will be returning and it will continue through this evening. And once again, we're going to see road conditions go downhill very quickly. Here's Interstate 80, still covered in snow for the most part here. It looks like maybe a little better lane in terms of conditions here near LeClaire, near the I-80 bridge. But everywhere else I'm looking, it doesn't look good at all. You got a lot of snow sitting on the pavement. Still some low visibility as well. This is the Whiteside County Airport, and I like this view because it's open. So even a little bit of wind is going to show us what blowing and drifting is doing. And yeah, we're seeing a little bit of that here in the distance, but so far, that doesn't seem to be a huge issue. I'm going to go back to the road conditions map here really quickly. Beautiful little picture of the water there, isn't it? Give it a second to load up. There it is. There you see everything is in pink. And if you look at the legend at the top of your screen, that is telling us that roads are completely covered with snow. We're not really seeing any improvement in this yet. Again, in the next hour or two, we might start to see some of the main roads turn to blue, which means they're partially covered with snow. But if you go back to the west here, you notice in Iowa, we're still seeing all pink on the roads as the snow is moving back in. So yeah, while it may not look bad now, again, things are going to go downhill as we go into this afternoon. Here's the snowfall reports, and this is made for our little corner screen, so this is why it looks a little funky. You got 5 inches being reported in spots. We got 4.5 in Moline. We've got 4 in Muscatine, and these still need to be updated. So if you have a snowfall measurement that you'd like us to be aware of, you know how to reach us. You got that text number, 309-304-0888. You've also got our Facebook page and our email as well. There's the newest one, Montpelier, with 5 inches on the ground there. Radar is tracking that small break in the snow, and it is right here, south of Muscatine, east of Mount Pleasant near Burlington. But already just south of Burlington, there's the next band of snow working its way up to the north. So the heaviest snow right now is sitting over Tipton, north of Iowa City, into Maquoketa, into all of Clinton County and Clinton itself. And then you've got another little heavy band here south of Geneseo and Interstate 80 that will also work its way up. Looks like an even heavier band sitting north of Galesburg, also here near Kewanee, that lifts into Princeton. But here's that little break I was talking about right here. Now, I've already seen a couple of questions coming on the live stream. Is that break going to cut down on the snowfall totals? Not really, because as I take this picture out, you see how small that break is. It's not big at all. Again, we're talking an hour or two at most. And look at the radar here in east central Iowa, how this is all filling back in as this low pressure system makes its way to the east. So not only do we have this band here to get through, and then all of this band here of rain that will convert over to snow moving in our direction, but later this evening into the overnight hours, you have what we call the deformation or deformation band right here. That has to move over us as well. That is also where you can get some heavy snowfall rates, including over 1 inch per hour. So we still have those 3 components yet to move through. And a reminder that this is not going to be a situation where you were waking up this morning to 15 inches of snow. I think there's a few folks out there that kind of misunderstood that, or maybe didn't catch all of the the broadcast that we had before this storm arrived. Because I did see a couple of comments saying, where's all the snow? I didn't see it when I woke up this morning. It's tomorrow morning that you will wake up and see this heavy snowfall on the ground, because as you can see here, we have a lot more snow to go. And that was the original plan, is that all day today and all night tonight, for the most part, was going to be filled with snow. So that's why you're seeing that. So another reminder, just avoid travel if you can. Up next, we're going to be tracking that tapering off of the snow for late tonight. And then we've got some bitterly cold temperatures to talk about, of course, behind this system. Now, we've got some time before those arrive. It's not going to be an immediate feeling of bitterly cold air, but my goodness, our temperature is going to get chilly as we go into later next week. So let's start with our future track here. Going into the rest of the morning, we'll stop this about 10:30, so about 2 hours from now, and you're seeing some of these lighter blues. Those would be kind of your lighter pockets of snow. And then as we continue to move this up, there you see more heavy snow comes in by this afternoon. It's the same thing this evening, as that band that I just showed you in western Iowa and Nebraska begins to finally make progress eastward. We're still seeing that heavy snow band setting up shop right over top of Interstate 80, both sides of the interstate, by the way. This will not discriminate. And even at 10:30 tonight, we still have that deformation zone or deformation zone, however you want to pronounce it, still sitting right over top of us, enhancing those snowfall totals even more. When does it all shut down? When is the snow event done? It will be done about 2, 3 o'clock tomorrow morning. That's why I'm stopping right here. This is 3 a.m., perhaps a couple of flurries. There'll be some blowing and drifting snow, of course, as winds pick up, but the accumulating snow will be done as we hit 3 a.m., and then the rest of tomorrow, we're really not expecting anything other than blowing and drifting snow and a whole lot of clouds. When all is said and done, you look at the snowfall totals, yes, we are still on track to see anywhere from 10 to perhaps as much as 15 inches of snow. Now, the numbers you're seeing right here, that is snowfall yet to come, not counting what we've already seen on the ground. The color behind it, though, in this scale, is the total snow. So again, this is what's to come on the labels here, not including what's already on the ground. This does include what's already on the ground on the scale here on the top of your screen. So you're seeing a lot of 12 to 15 on here. And in fact, I just noticed in the latest model run, it's putting a 15 plus right over Bettendorf, it looks like, on the Iowa side of the river. So yes, there will be some areas that indeed may go past the 15-inch amount. But what's been remarkable about this system, if you have followed weather for any length of period of time, anytime we get a snow like this, we usually concentrate this heavier snow in a really narrow band of just a few counties. This is not the case. This is several counties. I mean, this is almost a whole coverage area that we cover weather-wise that's going to get socked in these heavier snowfall totals. So really impressive system. There's another reminder again of how this is going to work for the rest of today. You had the heavier band of snow this morning. We catch that little bit of a break here later, and then we get into the afternoon, you get another heavy band of snow. Then it will finally lighten up and eventually quit heading into early tomorrow morning. Here's some driving tips. Again, if you have to go out today, this is what you want to do. You're increasing your following distance. Shouldn't be hard given there's hardly anybody on the roads compared to a normal day, especially a Saturday, Black Friday weekend. Yeah, far fewer people on the roads right now, which is good. That means people are heeding the warning. Drive in the plowed lane. It may be tempting to pass somebody who's going slower, perhaps doesn't have as much driving experience as you do. Maybe it's a plow, maybe it's a semi. Don't do it unless it's absolutely necessary. I've seen so many people get themselves in trouble by going over to that left-hand lane, which is usually not as clean as the right-hand lane. They fishtail, they spin out, they nearly collide with the people in line behind them, and then they go in the ditch. It's not worth it. Pack your patience. You'll get to your destination when you get there. Don't use the cruise control. You want to be able to feel the feedback from your vehicle as you're accelerating and decelerating. You don't get that feedback when you're on cruise control. You want to be able to feel whether your car still has traction or not on the pavement. Otherwise, you get yourself in a sticky situation. And lastly, use smooth steering and braking movements. You're not slamming on the brakes, you're not slamming down the accelerator, and you're not making a very hard turn. That'll keep you safe if you got to travel. We're going to continue to have coverage here on the A Plus app, that is, all day long. Every hour on the hour this morning, right around noon, we've got another one. Weather anchor Peter Warner is here. He's going to have more updates as we go into the afternoon because this storm is not done once we're done with the morning hours. We have way more snow to go. So we're going to stick with you all throughout the day. Right here on the app, we'll also have updates on air as well. If you have somebody that you know has a smart TV and they haven't gotten our app yet, maybe a friend, a family member, let them know. It's free. And we don't have to worry about time limits. We don't have to worry about commercials. We don't have to worry about any of that stuff that we do on traditional TV. So that's why we're able to go longer form, give you more updates as to what's going on. Let's talk about the cold really quick, and then I want to see if we can sneak back out to the Beast, and we'll take a look at Joe's picture and see what he's seeing and where he's at and where he's headed. So there's where the cold moves in, 5 degrees for a morning low as we go into Thursday. There will likely be some wind chills below 0 that morning as well. In terms of a wind chill advisory, I don't see that right now. Winds aren't strong enough, but that certainly is going to be some bitterly, bitterly cold temperatures that are going to be working through our region. Haley Bigehoft is also with us as well this morning, continuing our team coverage. So I think it would be neat to see if we can get back out to Joe and see what his roads are looking like and where he's going.
One more second here. We'll check right back in with Joe. But Andrew, lots of great advice there, from driving to, I know you mentioned earlier the emergency kits in your car. That's something that's really important. I know that if you ever get in an accident, that's really, really critical to making sure that you're safe, whether it's having blankets, having gloves, having snow pants, boots, even just having some extra water in there. All those things are really, really important.
Yeah, and we talked about, the full tank of gas.
Yes.
How yesterday I had a half tank and normally I wouldn't fill up, but I knew I was going to be driving in all these conditions today. And having that full tank of gas, that's just one less worry you have on your mind when you're having to go out and about here. So yeah, all of that good advice. And it sounds like we might have Joe back with us.
Yeah, Joe's going to join us once again. He was just here earlier in Henry County. Hey, Joe, where are you at now? Are you still in Henry County on some of those roads that are pretty snow covered?
Yeah, right now we just left around Atkinson, Illinois, so that we're heading over into the area. I believe I don't have my IFB right now, so I know that we're kind of going to handle this by the seat of our pants. Let me flip the camera around just for a second while I can get.
And that's okay.
Going.
Live stream.
You can see some of the roads that we're coming by. We're actually trying to make our way back to I-80, so we're heading back to the Quad Cities right now. Took a bit of a turn, and we're showing you some of these roads that we're seeing. It looks like at some points we might be the first cars who are sort of going through these, because these roads don't really look plowed for the most part. I know that we were telling you before, there was a time when me and Alex were talking and he was saying this, you can't even see the shoulder on some of these roads, and then that's dangerous, because obviously you can't tell how much of a divot, if a car does need to pull over, for example, if it has its hazards on and you need to take a minute to get yourself ready and prepared, obviously you don't want to be caught on the side of the road and stuff like that. So that's an issue we're seeing. Haven't really seen too many plow cars where we are right now, but like I said, we are starting to make our way over to the Quad Cities. I can show you what we're seeing on the side of the roads, and everything is covered in that fluffy stuff. You just get all this white snow. Still snowing out here, but our visibility is pretty clear for the most part. We can see some of the stuff that's ahead of us right now. Only maybe like a mile ahead or something, Alex? A few hundred feet is actually what he's telling me, so not even that far ahead. But yeah, this morning we haven't really seen many other cars that have been stuck on the side of the road, thankfully. So we're happy to tell you that.
Joe, does it seem icy at all, or is it mostly just snow packed on the ground?
I would say it's mostly snow patches. Haven't really seen much ice. Alex, maybe that's a question that you better be able to ask. Any ice that you've been feeling under your wheel at all?
No, not too much. It's a lot of just snow. It's a lot of patches.
He says not really, just a lot of snow, a lot of patches. But there have been times where we've been going like up certain hills and maybe down certain ones, and that we haven't been able to see anything when it comes to like the street lines or dividers or anything. So there has been a lot of, and I think Andrew mentioned it, this is really dusty. Let me flip the camera back around. I forgot. You don't need to see me. You need to see what's in front of us. That's the main part about all of this. So it's been really dusty on these roads, and there have been winds that have covered up these street lines and stuff. So that's the main thing. Like I said, we may not be able to see sometimes where exactly we're going. And a lot of these rural roads, like we mentioned before, they allow you to pass over certain drivers, obviously, when you are driving, and you really want to make sure that that's not what you're doing, just because you don't really know where you are in the first place, or if there's maybe a car that maybe on the other side, if somebody in front of you is covering you up. Allow more distance, and you really, like I said, want to make sure you're taking your time as you're hitting some of these corners and hitting the roads for today.
Definitely. Well, thank you guys both once again, for being out there. We know that those roads aren't great, especially there in Henry County. Joe, where do you think you're going to head next? You're going to stay in Henry County, or you got any other places you're aiming to go?
So I think we're going to try to listen to Andrew, and we're going to make our way onto or close to I-80. We're going to start to head back to the Quad Cities. We were out there earlier this morning for our 6 o'clock newscast, and I know it's been a few hours. You know, I assume maybe a few more plows have gone by. So we're going to go try to see some of the roads in our hometown area and give people an update on what are some of the things that we're seeing, so that they know what they can expect as the sun starts to come up and as families start to wake up for their day.
Exactly. Well, Joe and Alex, thank you both for being out there today. Stay safe, get back to I-80, get back this way, and we'll check in closer to the metro area, what those roads are like. So thank you guys for your work.
Yeah, great work, Joe. Thank you for doing that. And
Flip the camera back around.
While we're on the subject of travel here, I wanted to show you some of the numbers in terms of the impact to the airports. And I believe Peter just updated these numbers because I noticed it's different. So I'll throw up, if we can, Zach, Max too. And again, this is made for our little lower right-hand corner of the screen, so that's why it looks funky. But we have 18 cancellations here at the Quad Cities International Airport. Now more than 500 cancellations at O'Hare in Chicago, and 70 plus cancellations at Midway. You take a look at the delays, also impacted too. You've got 150 now at O'Hare and 16 at Midway. So there is absolutely a travel impact with this storm, and it is not just here in the Quad Cities. They're seeing some big impacts when it comes to the storm in Chicago. That's our Prophetstown camera, by the way, which is just totally covered in snow. We'll see if maybe we can clean that off a little later and get you a better view. There's Clinton, by the way, which also showing some of that heavier snow band that's coming back in. Macomb's got a good view. I don't know if you can hot punch that or not, Zach. I don't have that in my weather computer, Macomb, but if you can hot punch it, I'd say go for it. There it is, yeah. There's Macomb. And again, even if you're far south, like Macomb or Monmouth or Burlington, you're not escaping the heavier snowfall totals. No, no, no. This is going to be area-wide for these heavier totals. So even they are picking up some good snow at this current time. I'm going to take us back to live radar here on Max 2 if we can. And again, we'll track one more time here before we get ready to take another little quick short break, and then we're going to kind of regroup and get back together at the top of the hour. You know, where are we seeing these kind of heavier bands of snow currently work through, and where are we seeing the break? What I'm going to do is I'm going to switch over our radar color palette, and I'm going to switch it over to one that shows kind of our heavier snowfall just a little bit more easily. The white is certainly easy to see, but the only disadvantage with the white is that it's hard to see where the more heavier bands of snow is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch it over to blue, and that's where you're going to be more easily tell, April, where the heavy snow is. So let me save this really quick. Again, we're doing this on the fly. This is kind of like one of the fun things of streaming with us on the 8+ app, is we get to change stuff on the fly. We don't usually do that on a newscast, but there you see nice, really heavy band of snow from Tipton, south of Iowa City. Also going through Grand Mound, that's getting into Maquoketa. So I guarantee you're getting some good snowfall rates in Maquoketa, and also Clinton, where I just took you. Looks like that snowfall band is also beginning to increase into Sterling Rock Falls as well. And I haven't heard too much in terms of snowfall reports coming out of Sterling. I heard one a couple hours ago of only a ½ inch, but I'm willing to bet that's a little bit higher than that now. Another little heavy band right there south of Princeton, right along Interstate 80. So the beast is coming back here to the Quad Cities via Interstate 80. They're likely going to start running in to some of that heavier snow. Let's go further to the south. Galesburg, you had a heavy band about 45 minutes ago. Now you're catching a break. Heavy band over Knoxville, though, right now. And then speaking of breaks, here's the break we were talking about just a few minutes ago that's going to be arriving in the Quad Cities. So that's going to allow crews to briefly catch up on the snowfall and the snow plowing. So if you do need to go somewhere, perhaps you have a brief 1 to 2 hour window here where road conditions will improve. But again, look back here down to Keokuk and then Fort Madison and south to Quincy. That's where we're starting to see the radar presentation fill back in. And it won't be much longer before the heavy band of snow continues to make its way northward. And eventually we're going to see that come right back here into the Quad Cities. Now, we don't have to talk to Joe, but I know he's on his way back to the Quad Cities. So I'm curious, Zach, if we can see his shot from the beast really quick. Because I know he's going to be trying, I think, to get to Interstate 80.
There we go. There we go. I was just going to say, too, not quite where Joe is. He's on the Illinois side, but looking at some traffic report stuff from I-80, it looks like closer to Williamsburg, if you're going eastbound back to the Quad Cities, there is a semi off on the left shoulder. Not a huge delay, but just something, again, to, especially when there's lots of semis on I-80, like that's something that you really need to keep an eye on. So maybe, nope, that's not Joe's. Oh, there he is. Okay,
Yeah,
there
I
we
think
go.
he's at the Loves and Atkins.
He is.
Yep.
Well, that's a good spot to be. I like that gas station. So, yeah, well, there's some trucks filling up there, but again, stay safe on those roads because there definitely are things that are going to happen today.
Yeah, like Haley said, reports of a semi off the roadway there. Thankfully, in terms of the size of this storm and how much snow we've had so far, we really haven't seen a ton of those reports.
Exactly.
And that tells you
Thank goodness.
that people are either staying off the road completely or they're heeding the advice that we're giving you, and we're telling you if you slow down and you just use some common sense, you're going to be able to make it to your destination. It's going to take you a while, but it is doable. So that's some good news there.
It is. Just factor in that extra time, take it slow, and stay safe on the roads.
Yeah. We've got a lot of coverage, of course, continuing throughout the rest of the morning. We're going to take a quick break here. Haley's going to stick around. I'll be here. Weather anchor Peter Warner is here. And, of course, we have Joe Habersham in the field with the Beast. And we're going to kind of regroup, maybe get a sip of water, maybe a little coffee, maybe a granola bar. You guys can stick with us on the A+ app. And I think we're going to come back at, what are we at now, 8:30?
Should be about 9 o'clock.
Yeah, so
Yes.
9 o'clock is when we're going to come back.
We'll see you then. Well, good morning, Quad Cities. Thanks for joining us here on the WQAD 8+ streaming app. We're glad to join you, Andrew. It is snowy out there, lots of inches coming down, and still coming down throughout the rest of the day, right?
Yeah, the heavy snow is just getting started back up here in the Quad Cities. The visibility is dropping, and we've seen some impressive totals come in so far. A lot of places around 5 to 6 inches, some of you a little bit less, but don't let that fool you if you got the low amount so far. We have a lot more snow to go.
We do. And we're going to take a look right now. Is Joe ready, Zach? There we go. There's Joe. Joe's been out on the roads all morning with our photographer, Alex. They've been real troopers, up super early, not their typical schedule. And earlier they were in Henry County where the roads weren't great. But Joe, I know you were trying to make your way back to I-80. What's it looking like right now?
Yeah, we're on I-80. We're going into Davenport. We're in Kelowna right now, and I'm going to actually flip the camera around just so you can see something. Uh-oh. A lot of stuff right there. 1 second. Bam. There you go. All right, so these roads are actually looking pretty clear out here. Maybe within like the last 5 minutes, there's actually a plow that was going pretty fast. We were getting up right behind it. I think the speed limit out here is 70. Alex pushing it a little past 40 right now. So I mean, the roads, we've got some slush that are out here, but it's not impossible to get on. Now it is just a little difficult to see. That's the main thing. We're still seeing so many of the flurries while we have the windshield wipers sort of going right now. But yeah, we are starting to see a little bit more people on the road, some crews being a little bit more active right now. It looks like up ahead on the left, there's some flashing lights. I wonder if we could try to get that. Oh, there's a plow right there. 1 second. There you go. It's on the side of the road. It's coming up. So we promise. There's actually some crews that are out here. They're doing their jobs. They're trying to make sure that the roads stay safe. And we do want to make sure that we're thanking them throughout the day because, without them, we wouldn't be able to sort of do some of the things and have this sort of stuff right here. We're actually giving you a full look at the beast right here. But, yeah, I will say that we've only seen one car this morning that was stuck on the side of the road. It hasn't really been... Sorry, I was flipping the camera around. We've only seen one car that was stuck on the road. It was more towards the 6 o'clock hour, and that was something that was quickly resolved, probably within like 10 minutes. So it hasn't really been a terrible day, at least for residents in the area.
Yeah, well, thanks.
At least.
Yeah, no, thanks, Joe. I know you guys have been on a lot of different roads, and like we said, some of those rural roads weren't as plowed, but it looks like you're doing pretty good right there. Yeah, and you're saying it's not too icy, right? More so just dusting with snow?
Yeah, so, right, and let me turn this just around just because the more important thing is what's in front of us. Yeah, so I know that the last time we were talking a little bit about some of the ice on the road. It's funny, actually, because we took a pit stop into a Love store. We were going to get some fuel for ourselves, and I thought the beast was invulnerable. I thought it was perfect, and then we ended up doing another drift earlier this morning for like 2 seconds, and me and Alex both looked at each other and laughed for a moment. So there are times where you need to slow down a little bit because if we can slip and slide, so can you. But it hasn't really been ice for the most part. I know that, like you said, the wind's kind of been blowing for most of the morning, and we do have the snow that's still coming down, so it's really the dusting is what we're seeing. And also, there are times where you can kind of see the lines in the middle of the road. That's the main thing. There's been a few cars that's kind of gone past us on the highways, and we do want to tell people just to be careful because you want to maybe drive within the snow tracks that you do see so that you're not losing tread, and you just want to stay speaking of people passing us, there's a guy right there. Let's get that wipe going. There you go. But yeah, so we do want to just tell people to slow it down when you're going outside. I know we're on the highway, and it's something that they do have crews that are coming out to keep it clean, but just stay safe and stay careful.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much, Joe and Alex, for being out there. Thanks to all our plowing crews out there as well. We know you've been up really, really early and appreciate you keeping those roads safe for everyone driving. So thank you guys. We'll be back. You guys will be back with us again at the 10 o'clock hour in our newscast, and we'll get another report and see what the roads are like then. So thank you.
Thanks, Joe.
And a couple little updates here first too. When we're looking at traffic on 80, there's not too much that we've seen this morning. There is a bit of an accident that happened, or there was a semi off on the road. It looks like it's been pulled out now, eastbound by Williamsburg. If you're going eastbound on I-80, looks like traffic's just slightly delayed, but not too much. When we're looking at power outages near the Quad Cities, Mid-American does not have any anymore in the Quad Cities. However, in Iowa City, there's about 950, let me pull that back up, 950 outages in Iowa City that are Mid-American. So again, we're looking pretty good here in the Quad Cities, but there definitely is an impact in the area, in the greater area here. And then a couple canceled events we just want to flag for you. I'm sure there's more, but these are the ones that we've seen. Muscatine is not running their bus service today, so make sure that you're aware of that. There's a lighted holiday parade in Burlington that's been canceled. The state football championship in Illinois for 5A and 6A is also canceled. They'll reschedule that for Tuesday. And then, as Andrew mentioned, he was going to take part in the Prophetstown Proud lighted Christmas tree parade. I know that's a big one for a lot of people. That is also canceled tonight because of the weather. So again, if you're trying to go to something, make sure you double check before you leave home. Maybe just don't leave home today, especially right now with all the snow coming down. There's going to be some more coming, and Andrew has more details on that, but stay safe if you are on the roads or planning to go out later today.
Yeah, fantastic advice. And Haley, thank you for keeping track of all the power outages and the issues with travel impacts and everything else. There is a lot to keep track of when we're talking about a beefy winter storm such as the one we've got going on right now. So now we'll do a little bit of a deeper dive here in the next 15 to 20 minutes. Then we'll take another break. We're going to regroup, reset, get a little water, a little coffee, and then we'll come back again at the top of the 10 o'clock hour. So let's start with what's going on right now. This is a live look at downtown Rock Falls, and these flakes are getting bigger, by the way, compared to what they looked like about 10, 15 minutes ago. So a heavier snow band now coming into this region. And also, I'm noticing the roads are beginning to get snow covered again. So what we're going to see on and off throughout the day is we're going to see varying intensity of the snowfall bands. You're going to see some coming through heavier than others. You may get a small break. But the theme for today is it's going to snow for the entire day, including all of this evening and much of the overnight hours. So we have a long way to go when it comes to measuring the total snow that this storm will bring. It will be impressive and could even set some records as well. We're going to continue a weather impact alert all day long, all through tonight as well, for that heavy snow, the slick roads, the low visibility, you name it. Now, as I said earlier, there's a brief window of opportunity, being probably now, for about the next hour, where if you do need to go somewhere, as you saw with Joe's shots there on Interstate 80, where we're getting a little bit of clearing. The crews are catching up. However, be mindful that we are going to see more heavy snow bands throughout the rest of the morning into the afternoon and evening, and those roads will quickly become snow covered once again. So that was a great example of what we saw in Joe's shot there. Let me show you some more shots on our camera network here. These are all of the bridges in the Quad Cities. Here's I-74, completely covered in snow. This one's going to be a toughie, and honestly, any bridge is going to be tough to clear, minus the Centennial, which is in good shape, it looks like. But these other bridges, you've got a bridge deck that has no insulation below it. So you've got cold air wrapping around the entire bridge surface. That makes those extra slick versus the regular pavement that most of us are driving on. Now, speaking of pavement, let's go to I-74. Starting to see again a little bit of a clearing path in some of the right-hand sides, the right-hand lanes. So this is that small little break I was talking about that would come in, and then we're going to pick it up again later this morning into the afternoon. Lastly, let's go to Interstate 80, which takes us from here in the quads all the way to Iowa City. Yeah, a lot of snow-covered roads, but again, it's just on Joe's live shot. It looks very similar here, like LeClaire, where we've got a little bit of clearing taking place, but that will quickly become snow-covered again in no time. Now, the blowing and drifting concern. Yes, we're seeing a little bit of that because the first round of snow that fell and is falling now is the lighter, powdery snow. But the temperatures are already increasing, and that snow is going to transition to a wet, heavy snow temporarily through the afternoon. Once we cool down again tonight after sunset, we're going to start to see that transition back to a light, fluffy, powdery snow that will start to break and move around and blow around. So you're seeing a little bit of that here at the Whiteside County Airport, which is very open, by the way. It's a perfect area to look to see if there's any blowing and drifting going on. And you can see a little bit of it in the background. Now, road conditions, this map has not changed at all since when we started early this morning. Everything is being reported as completely covered in snow. We may catch a break here in the next hour or two and maybe see a couple of areas of blue pop up. But from here, no matter what direction you're going, even the Chicago tollway, which, as many of you know that have gone into Chicago, you pay big bucks for that tollway. Even they're having a hard time keeping up with the snow. All of that being reported 50% covered at this time. Let's go back to our Bridgepoint camera. Slow going on the I-74 bridge as it should be for anybody who's traveling because it is very slick. Where's the temperature stand right now? We're slowly moving up. We were at about 26 to start this morning. Now we're up to 28. We'll get close to freezing as we go into the afternoon. Some of the snowfall reports, and weather anchor Peter Warner has been updating these for me as we've been going out through the morning. Some of these are delayed, so keep that in mind, but this is what we know so far. We're seeing a lot of 3 to 6 inch totals coming in, whether it's Muscatine, right here in the Quad Cities, down to Burlington, Maquoketa. A lot of these numbers kind of right on track with what we were thinking where we should be for this time in the morning. There's Montpelier at 5. We've got other reports coming in of 5-inch amounts. So we're right where we should be here. There's 4.8 in Henry. And if you have snowfall reports, again, you can put them in the live chat. We're watching that. We're also watching our texting line, the 309, the 304-0888. That is a good resource to get us your numbers. So I made this yesterday. It wasn't as beautiful as it is today because it didn't have any color as I was pressed for time. But what I did is I took our future track model and I took the rolling snowfall total hour by hour. So this was the model yesterday, and I wanted to compare it to where we're at right now and where we're sitting and where we're likely going to head for the afternoon. So it is 9:12, and on this graphic, we would be in this column right here. This is where we should be if we want to be on track to see those 10+ inch snowfall totals. So as we just showed you, we do have 4.5 and 5-inch measurements being reported in the Quad Cities. We're right on track here. In fact, to verify if we're going to be on track or not, everyone by noon should have at least 6 inches of snow on the ground. You can see if you look at the table here, by noon, everyone is in that 6 to 9 column. So if you have 6 inches of snow on the ground by noon, you are going to be well on track to see those higher totals as we go into late tonight, early tomorrow morning. It really gets high here once we get after dark. We're talking like 9, 10 o'clock tonight, just before midnight. That's when we should really start seeing those double-digit totals come in via the storm reports from the National Weather Service. That is the plan right now. Again, the range is anywhere from 10 to 15 inches, depending on where the heaviest band of snow sets up. But this is a good tool to use to verify that, yes, we are on track right now, given the snowfall totals we've seen thus far, to see those higher numbers come in as we go into later this evening. Many of you have also asked, are we going to see a blizzard warning with this? As of right now, no, we are not going to meet the criteria for a blizzard. This is the definition of a blizzard. You need frequent wind gusts and sustained winds of 35+ miles an hour for a period of 3 or more hours. You also need reduced visibility as well. We are not going to meet the wind gust and the wind speed requirement. I'll take you through Future Track, which is going to show that winds will not get any higher than 30 miles an hour. Now, you will still see some blowing and drifting snow, especially on those rural and open roads. That is a guarantee at this point, but we're not going to meet blizzard criteria based on everything I'm seeing right now. And I know it gets confusing. You know, we always think of a heavy snowfall event, 10 to 15 inches of snow. My goodness, it certainly could create a blizzard, but that's not the case. Nowhere in the wording does it mention how much snow is required to trigger a blizzard warning. For real, it doesn't. In fact, take this for an example. We could have a blizzard warning in place and only expect an inch of snow. It's all about the visibility, and it's all about the wind speeds. The winds have to be high and gusty for a sustained period of time to get a blizzard. That is not in the cards right now with this storm system. Take a look at the wind speeds and the gusts. We are well below that threshold right now, and we're not expected to get much higher than what you're seeing on the map. Here's the Future Track wind gust map. Taking us into tonight, winds actually get a little calmer as the low pressure moves close by later this evening. We don't pick up winds again until after midnight into tomorrow morning, and even then, look at your gusts. We're below 35 miles an hour, and it's not for 3 hours where we have those higher numbers. It's only for about an hour, because by the time we get to sunrise tomorrow, the winds are getting a little bit lighter. So you notice we're not going to meet that blizzard criteria. So hopefully that answers that question. Now let's go to radar. And because we're doing this on the streaming app, I'm going to leave the screen for a minute, because what I want to do is I want to switch our color table on this, because it's kind of hard to see where the heavier snow bands are with the color table that I'm using here. So I'm going to switch it over. And you're going to see the colors change in a second, and it's going to be really easy to see where the heaviest snow band is currently setting itself up once I switch this. Because there's some heavier ones kind of moving in. In fact, we're intensifying again in the immediate Quad Cities. And actually, I'm going to stay off screen for a minute, so don't panic, Zach. I'm planning to do this, but I want to work with the radar here for a second in terms of zooming in, and then I'll come back over there in front of the chroma key. But yeah, look at that really heavy band of snow that has just developed here in the last 15, 20 minutes, now sitting over top of us. In fact, I bet if I peek my head outside that door right now, we've got some huge snowflakes falling fast and furious here at the station in Moline. That band stretches from here in the Quad Cities to Kelowna and Geneseo, and notice how slowly it's moving. It is crawling to the north. So that's going to further make the road conditions go downhill shortly. And that band, by the way, is lifting north. There's another band of heavy snow south of Kewanee into Galesburg. That's also lifting north. But it goes to show what we were talking about a couple of hours ago when we had a few of you comment saying, I just looked at my radar app. There's a giant hole in the radar. Is that going to cut down snowfall totals? Is that it for the event? That's all it had? No, look at how the radar has filled in. That gap earlier is gone. It has completely been filled in. And now we're going to start to see the snowfall rates intensify again, and that will be the case for the remainder of the day. Take a look at the moisture with this thing. This storm is a monster. It stretches all the way from Minnesota, Wisconsin, Iowa, all the way down to Kansas, Missouri, into Oklahoma, eventually into the southeast states as it moves to the east. This thing has so much moisture to work with, and that's why we have such a long duration snow event. All of this rain you see in northern Missouri will switch to snow as it moves to the northeast. Then later this evening into the overnight hours, we're going to be dealing with this heavier band right here that'll be moving over top of us. That is why I'm saying this storm is far from over. We have a long, long ways to go. Let's go through future track. Take you through the rest of this storm. How long it's going to stick around. Heavy snow bands continuing for the rest of the morning here. Getting into the afternoon, you're seeing some of the brighter colors. Those are the heavier snowfall rates that are continuing to move up from the south and southwest. Perhaps a little bit of a break here in the south, maybe a rain-snow mix for Macomb briefly. But then the snow will come back on the backside here. This, by the way, this band that I'm showing you at 8, 9 o'clock tonight is the band that is currently sitting in Nebraska and into western Iowa. That's what moves east. And even in this final band, which we call a deformation zone or a deformation zone, this is where you can still have an inch per hour in terms of those snowfall totals. You can really, really still get some good snowfall falling from that. When does everything come to an end? Right about 3, 4 o'clock tomorrow morning. Now, the timing of that should tell you, yes, we're going to have some travel problems tomorrow morning. But I think by mid to late morning, 9, 10, 11 o'clock, crews will have had a good 4, 6 hours to get those roads cleared off. So if you have plans tomorrow, maybe you want to go to Sunday services, really going to have to keep an eye on what the road conditions look like. And Peter's going to be in tomorrow morning for Morgan, it sounds like. And he will be keeping an eye on those road conditions. And don't forget, we'll have other updates as well. Whoop, 1 second. Okay. So our producer, Zach, is talking to me. They're in East Moline. They're in the Beast, and they're seeing smoke coming from a storage unit. Zach, can we pull up the Beast live view at this time if we can? And let's see what we've got going on. So again, the Beast is in East Moline, and it looks like we're dealing with an active fire. So we actually have some breaking news right now, right here exclusively on the 8+ app. It looks like Joe is talking to one of the police officers at the scene, trying to figure out where exactly we are. So this is East Moline. It almost to me appears, and I'm trying to get my bearings here. I'm looking at that intersection. We're going to see if we can figure out exactly where he's at in East Moline. What was that, Zach? So they're at a storage facility in East Moline right now. Looks like they're going to kind of park it and 1508 Kelowna Road in East Moline is their current location right now. And it sounds like we've got a storage building that's on fire. All right, so yeah, as you can see there, first responders just now getting on the scene, it looks like. There's the fire truck apparatus. They'll be working to do that. I think if somebody, yeah, if we can, it probably would be a good idea to start a record. I know this is being live streamed, so there may be a recording of this. If our web team is listening, in addition to anybody else who has control of the recordings of our live stream, probably not a bad idea to make sure that we can roll on this. If we can record this while this situation is unfolding in front of us here. Again, this is East Moline near Kelowna Road, I believe, where we have an active fire scene. Now, it's kind of hard to see the smoke from this angle because we're dealing with the low visibility with the snow that's coming in. We're getting that really heavy snow band.
Yeah, Andrew, that's over kind of by Swannies. That would make sense. It's kind of by the Kelowna, let's see, not too far from there's some baseball fields over there near Kelowna Road. Not very far from Blackhawk Bank and Trust, a few roads over from there, kind of that area. And yeah, like you said, fire truck just rolled in. There's first responders there. Sounds like Joe's trying to get some more information for us.
Yeah, it looked like he was talking to a police officer as they were pulling into the property there. So he may be, gathering some information. If you can hear us on your controls there in the Beast, that joystick, you can twist the handle. That will allow you to zoom in if that gets you a little bit of a better view of what's going on. I know it's really hard to see right now because we have the snow falling. The visibility is quite low, but if that helps you adjust your shot any, we can certainly see. Obviously, there's a lot of emergency and first responders on the scene. But again, Joe, it's the twisting of the knob on your joystick control. There you go. Now you can zoom in. So yeah, if that helps you get a better view of exactly what's going on and what's on fire, it's kind of hard to. It looks like they're staging kind of near some parked storage, maybe.
Exactly. Some RVs are over there too.
RV
maybe.
storage, yeah.
Correct. The bus looks like there's a bus in that camera there.
Yep.
And wow, you can really see how snowy it is too.
Yeah, my goodness. I mean, the flakes are coming down pretty big here.
They are.
There we go.
Oh wow.
All right, so there's our active fire scene right now, right behind that camper, it looks like. Yeah, you can see some good smoke. Again, it's going to be hard to see because of the snow going on, the reduced visibility, but there you see the smoke coming from that area behind the camper. And a reminder, this is in East Moline, Kelowna Road. Haley, do you still have the address?
Yep, 508. Give me one second. Got the address right here. Trying to multitask for the 10 o'clock show, so we've got a lot going on right now. But yep, we've got, 1 second. 508 Kelowna Road in East Moline is where this is at. It's once again a storage unit over there. It's kind of an intersection right here, kind of intersection with Maple Street, not too far from the restaurant Swannies, and then not too far from Old Kelowna Park either, on that side of town.
All right, so there's a location that we're talking about in terms of where this is happening right now. Again, in East Moline, where we have that. And you can see some smoke billowing from the back of the camper there. It's a pretty big camper too. So whatever is on fire, it must either be behind that or it's either on the other side of that camper.
Well, from far away, you could see a lot of looked pretty dark, the smoke that we were showing earlier too. So we'll see how they get this under control and what's all going on there. But Joe and Alex were out checking roads this morning. They've been out all day, and so they came across this and decided to check it out, which was great reporting by them. They, like Andrew said, have been talking, it looks like, with some officials, some police officers, and trying to get some more information on what's exactly going on here in Kelowna. Right off of the address, once again, is 508 Kelowna Road in East Moline.
Yeah, and I think we did see Joe talking to one of the police officers there as they were pulling in. I don't know if Joe learned any information. You can certainly communicate that with us if you'd like to, if you have that information confirmed in terms of what's going on. But yeah, it looks like it's lighter smoke. It was really dark, like you said, Haley. It was really, really dark smoke when they initially pulled up. But looks like they've probably most likely got that fire under control, which is why we're seeing the lighter smoke now all the steam.
Okay, it sounds like we're going to have to reach out to the Rock Island Police Department for more details. So we will reach out and get back to you with more information. But as of right now, yes, this is what we know. We know that they're on the scene. We know that we've seen a lot of smoke. We've talked with some responders, and we're being redirected to the Rock Island the fire department, police department for more information. But lots of smoke and there's some fire trucks there. People on the scene trying to figure out what's going on at the storage unit in East Moline right now.
Yeah, we'll continue to keep an eye on that and let you know if anything else develops. Again, we're going to be streaming for the next several hours. But yeah, you can see the emergency crews are still on the scene there. You got an ambulance, got a few fire trucks. Looks like they're working that active fire. So we're going to keep an eye on that. Thank you, Joe, for the view. Looking good there, and thanks for the camera work as well. And Zach, if you see anything, just let us know and we'll come right back to it immediately here. We're going to wrap up the quick weather chat here. I think we left off on how much snow is yet to come. And that is what I'm going to show you here. And we'll have to go to Max 2, sorry, Zach, to show you that map in terms of how much snow we have yet to come. Now, the number you're seeing on the map here is the snow yet to come. It doesn't include what's already fallen. What you're seeing in the color, that is including what has already fallen. And you can see that a lot of us are likely going to be seeing those really, really high amounts of 10 to 15 inches. So there's a lot more snow to come. We're starting to already see the road conditions deteriorate once again as this heavy band is lifting to the north through the Quad Cities. A reminder before we go here and take a quick break, we will be back at the top of the 10 o'clock hour. And we're going to continue to do this for the remainder of the morning. At the top of the hour, so the top of the 10, top of the 11, there'll be one at noon. We'll have a few more this afternoon and this evening, and we'll be doing those as well. So we just want to keep you updated on what's going on with all this extended live coverage. The News 8 app, the 8 Plus app, that is a great resource for this. And as you saw there, we were able to even bring you a spot of some breaking news. So stick with us the remainder of the day. We've got you covered both on air, on your streaming device, and of course online at WQAD.com. Maybe punch up one more time. We'll go back out to the Beast and see if there's anything exciting going on with that fire scene. And it looks like right now it is out. Don't even see any smoke. Looks pretty quiet.
Quite the change from earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah, lots of some dark smoke earlier, so they did a great job of getting that under control.
Yeah, that was a very quick response. Excellent work. Well, we're going to work to get some more information about that. I believe we're going to try and get in contact with the Rock Island Police Department and see what we can find out for that. For now, we'll go ahead and we'll send it back to our streaming coverage, our loop, our radar loop, and the snowfall totals, all that good stuff. We'll be back with you at the top of the hour at 10 o'clock right here on the 8 Plus app.